Welcome. Hi. You know, I really like this word, hi, because since I live in Norway, it's, it's very good for me. I started, um, obviously, I'm coming from a different country, and I started speaking in English, but hi, it was understood everywhere. So, hi. Anyway, oh, what's that? Huh, let us check it out. Oh, say hi to Sketch. Sketch is going to help me to guide you through this whole stuff. Anyway, let me introduce myself. I'm Dora. Dora is a Hungarian name because I was born in Budapest, but that's for later. I'm working at Element Logic. We have an amazing booth, so just check it out. And I'm dealing with the design team there. So, as mentioned, I was born and raised in Budapest, but I'm happily living in Norway, so hi again. I started my career as a UI developer. Then, because of my diploma and such, I sort of tried myself out in project and product management, but that was definitely not for me, although I gained a lot when it comes to leadership. And then I started to deal with digital product design. And here comes UX to the picture, because product design can also be physical product design. Well, I'm speaking about digital product. So raise your hands if you know all of those abbreviations there. UX, DS, IA, A11Y, DX, CX. These are my interests. UX, obviously, user experience. DS is for design systems. I'm a design system freak. I think in structures and I organize everything if possible. IA stands for information architecture, and this is where we are getting closer with developers, a little bit at least. A11Y stands for accessibility. We just had an amazing talk regarding accessibility. I hope you liked it as well. DX stands for developer experience. And this is very important for me. And you know what? Speaking about psychology and neuroscience is a bit out of my league so far, because generally I speak about the collaboration between designers and developers. I really believe in this relationship because I believe if we can communicate to each other in a straightforward, transparent, and clean way, then we are way ahead of everyone else. So I really believe in this. And CX stands for customer experience, which is sort of important because they are our users. So if they don't like what we deliver, obviously the company won't have revenue, which means that we won't have salaries. So customer experience, very important. I told you about collaboration, but it is not just between developers and designers. It's also between any other stakeholders and the designers. I believe in that. I believe in not being a designer who says that, okay, everything what I design is king and you just have to deliver it. No, this is not the way. I also don't believe in waterfall, but about that a little bit later. And I'm also into knowledge sharing and fun. And the reason for that is that I have a kid at home who is, with all my love, but really lazy. So I had to make it fun for her to actually learn the stuff that she has to. Kudos to my father, who helps a lot in this anyway, because I wouldn't have the brain cells for that all the time. Anyway, why does neuro UX matter? To hook the audience. Again, we are creating user experiences for our users. We want to grab their attention, and we want to keep it for good. What our brain loves, our brain loves rewards. And if we have this kind of teeny tiny, happy, lovely stuff in our application or in our software, then it means that the dopamine will kick in to our brains. And we will intentionally, instinctively love what we see. We will, nurture engagement toward the stuff that we are seeing. So just make it clear, dopamine is a molecule. that actually acts like drugs. You can get addicted to dopamine, which is crazy if you think about it, but we will see some examples how you can get addictive to certain applications or certain software pieces. This is because dopamine kicks into your brain. So this is a chemical reaction in your body. The other thing our brain loves is patterns. We like to familiarize ourselves with certain stuff. So for example, we have a routine. We usually go for a run. Obviously not me every morning, but I believe some of you do. You're going to have a run, and you do it because you started to love it. The dopamine kicked in. You start to love it, so you feel relieved in the end when you do it. And if you use an application to motivate yourself, then you will obviously get a badge. Hey, you did your run, it was fun. And then, if you are about to forget about it for some reason, you will have a cue, a trigger, that will nudge you, hey, you need to go to have a run. So it will become a habit loop. You are stuck into a habit loop that you love. It's kind of addictive. There are some strange background noises around there, but just let us take that for now. Okay, what is neuro UX? It is user experience plus neuroscience plus psychology. But after we let this sink, just think about it. Is it a scientific term? Have we read it in anywhere in the academy? Obviously, no. I made this word up because I want to use something short, something brief that I can refer to during this presentation. Neuroscientists have researched the human brain. You can find out there is an actual research on this, and this is not the only one. But that one, it's in America, Philadelphia, and those researchers found a lot of very interesting stuff. They actually did fMRI scans on designers and non-designers as well during they were performing design tasks. And what I mean by design tasks, when you actually create something out of nothing. The first one, designing means creating new solutions on purpose, not just repeating what already exists. So again, creating something out of nothing. That is already designing. I personally hate when people refer to design and everyone thinks of pixel perfect, beautified stuff. This is a part of design. Design is strategic thinking. Design can happen in your brain without actually drawing a line. Design means planning. Design thinking involves the brain processes behind creating design ideas, which means that if you are actually creating design ideas, you trigger your brain, it wakes up, oh, there is something to do. Oh, okay, wake up. And your brain wakes up and starts to act like a machine and starts to generate ideas all the time, every time. Designing is a complex mental process and a key part of human creativity, which means that design cannot be repeated or reciprocated with AI. Like it or not, however you think about artificial intelligence, the actual design, as we agreed on that, it's planning, it's strategic thinking, it cannot be repeated by something that is fed from human thoughts. Design has to be something unique, something new that has never been existed. Therefore, the artificial intelligence that is actually coming from already existing human thoughts and designs cannot really create anything new. It repeats stuff. not to mention legal issues, right? Brain scans show that designing activates different areas than problem solving or idea generation. It's not just your frontal cortex that activates, it's your whole brain. And the funny thing is that if you think about it, there are two parts of the brain, right? One for creativity, and the other one is for logical stuff. Now, every single part of your brain is activated while you are designing. Just show me any other activity that creates the same effect on the brain. So it's just amazing because it means that if your whole brain is activated, is that you are finally using the whole capacity of your brain. How amazing is that, that you actually have a tool since your birth that you can finally use? It's amazing. Combining neuroscience and design research can lead to better ways to improve design thinking. This is the key point of this talk. That we want to understand what is happening in our brain, what is happening with our psyche, so that we can connect it with the user's heart, so they will love what they see. So the science behind a irresistible UX. Key psychological principles. But first, what is the aim here? What do we want to solve exactly? Because it's very nice that we are sitting here and speaking about such stuff, but first we want to understand the problem, right? Or is there a problem at all? If possible, we would like to create an application or a software piece where the interaction between the user and the app or the machine is like a natural decision-making process. So it's not like we are forcing the user to some very alienated loop. No, it's like the next step is natural. That is our aim. So we want to create habits, again, habit loops and stuff. The user routines make the users to return all the time. Again, if they formulated a habit, for example, for a run or fitness app, they will return all the time because it will be a part of their processes, a part of their everyday routines. Emotional engagement, as I mentioned earlier, if they start to love it, they will engage, they will get back there and stuff. Cognitive efficiency, the simpler, the better. So when I was reading through, for example, those papers for this presentation, it was like full of psychological and neuroscientist mumbo-jumbo. And I figured out that if I'm going to speak about it, not on my native language, not in front of people who might understand every single word, but I want to transfer the message, I have to be simple. I have to use the simplest possible explanation for everything. So hopefully this cognitive efficiency, and obviously Sketch, will help you to somewhat familiarize yourself with this whole thing. We are also designing for long-term engagement and instinctive reactions. We want to leverage cognitive biases, which means that we want to understand those shortcuts that will help the users to understand, to choose between options. We want to use neurological triggers, which means that if we understand how our brain works, we can boost this engagement. We can have this positively manipulative effect on the user. We want to encourage this repeated behavior. Obviously, we need revenue. We need returning users. And users will return if they find our application easy enough to use and to understand. We want to support predictive processing, meaning that the user feels to be in control. We want to reduce friction, so all the interactions are fast. And this speed comes back when we are speaking about instinctive reactions and instinctive decisions. Speed helps in a lot of cases. If the user understands what is happening in front of them in the application and they just do not need their brain power to actually process the information, and they can choose between a very few options, it will be much easier for them if they are actually need to, reread everything and make an actual effort to understand. So finally, some real stuff. We are going to speak about biases. FOMO, fear of missing out. I hope that you heard about it. It is because there is a need in the human beings to socially evaluate what they are doing. If everyone else loves that application or the software piece, obviously that is going to be for me as well. For example, a few years back, I was working with this running fitness application, and everybody was so into that application, I myself started to run. Now, my legs are operated, so I have problems with running and these kind of physical activities, but I started to run because of that application. Anyway, I wasn't successful with that. Peer comparison. You need to belong, which means that if your friend is doing it, then obviously that's gonna be good for you. So you're going to try it out. Exactly the same example as before. Urgency. Have you ever tried going to booking.com and find a hotel without not having the only two left label there? I tried, but I failed. It's always there. And I got annoyed by that because it's always there. I do not believe it. But anyway, someone who is sensitive to FOMO or feels FOMO a lot, it means a lot. But it's not that good. Dopamine spike from the reward. You get your badge after your run, and you feel like, I did my share. I saved the world and everything. You did not, you just run, but anyway, good for you. Avoid loss, better than gaining. Meaning that if you can avoid to lose some offer, some badge or something, and you collect it, like in McDonald's, because there are some games and toys that they are providing next to their menus, and obviously a kid starts to collect it because it's better than not have it. And kids don't care if it's some plastic from China, right? So, anyway. And again, there is the habit loop. So, FOMO triggers the habit loop, no matter if you like the actual application or not. It obviously has its dark sides and bright sides. Now, the other bias that I want to speak about is the confirmation bias, which is you know something or you think you know something, and that belief is actually gives you comfort, so you're fine with that. And anywhere you go on the internet, within social gatherings, you will try to find the confirmation that your already existing belief is fine. You're correct. You're not wrong. You're not mistaken. So your brain starts to look for information selectively. It will filter out anything that is against your belief. Reinforce beliefs through repetition. Usually political messages are in this category. If they are putting whole boards of political advertisements in the whole city, luckily in Oslo there is none, but if they do, then they repeat the same message. Obviously, because of printing costs and stuff, they do not have that amount of money to print new messages to every single board, but also repetition is key here. If they repeat the same thing, I would say lie, but obviously that. Anyway, so the same thing is repeated by politicians on the boards around the city, and as you travel or commute, you just read the same message all over again, and your brain starts to believe it. Confirmation bias makes it comfortable, because then all of your choices will be around your already existing belief. Everything you do, every information you look for, your brain filters it, and then whatever choice is there, your brain will select whatever confirms your already existing belief. It will feel familiar, so it will it will boost your trust, which means that, they are also writing about that, so they think the same, so I'm obviously opting in. And all the challenges are ignored by your brain. Now, this is a trap. Algorithms. I slightly touched upon AI, but also we have to speak about algorithms, because how do you build up an algorithm? You feed it with data. Data is coming from human beings, and human beings give the data that they believe in. I believe you already see the loop, what we are having here. Okay, so let us have the first real stuff, the Gestalt principle. It is about human beings instinctively grouping stuff together, the similar items, generally visually. It makes it easier for the brain to find the patterns, and thus will lead to easier choices. And it will also come with the benefit of having a clean UX, a clean UI that we can provide to our users. The other thing is Hicks' law, which is about aiming for simplicity. The less choice you have, the better, because then you won't need any brain capacity at all. That I said in a pretty wrong way, don't get me wrong, it just helps the users. But anyway, you get it. So by reducing complexity, we will have simplified interfaces which will reduce the decision fatigue. And it will help us to prioritize in a much faster way. Now, if you combine these two, you will have fast, smooth, and confident decisions. This is what you want to give your users. Again, you are creating a software piece or an application, and the user just don't have enough time to read those stuff on the screen. They want clean information right away and just very basic decision options. Now, I'm working on an application as a hobby project where they originally hired a design agency. And for some reason, that design agency, the designers there, they delivered the following layout. There was the title. There was some sort of context. There was a semi-primary button, meaning it was not filled but outlined. There was a link button. There came an other content piece, and then a primary button, and a text button. Now, when I saw that screen, I was like, there is no way users can use that screen. And I was right, because when we asked the users, they told us that they hate it. So that is why we redesigned the whole layout. We had the description, and we had a lot of thought on the potential options or actions that we want and can provide to the users. So after the title and the content, we ended up having 3 options. It was really hard, but we did it. And then we actually increased the NPS score. So it was fine. Duolingo gets it. Duolingo applies Gestalt's small, logic regrouped lessons. You will have very small pieces when you are actually getting into Duolingo. Then they apply Hicks' law, 1 to focused and short and engaging options that you can choose from. And they also create a habit loop. You get your reward, and you go back. You get your notification, and you go back. And at some point in time, you will feel that you know a language. Let it be. I have my thoughts on that. Spotify made it happen. They also utilize gestalts. They are grouping songs in coherent groups. They have hicks. They are reducing your options, having only one playlist at a time. It was about Discovery Weekly. But anyway, you can obviously create your own playlist. And they also have this habit loop, because people are lazy, and that is fine. We just have to accept it. So Spotify does it pretty well in this sense, and they provide you with options. Right. Rewards aren't just fun extras. If someone starts to use a fitness application, they would want to feel as a winner. But how can you provide it if you don't know the level of physical fitness of that user? Obviously, you as a software developer want to put the user into some sort of a flow where they select their level of fitnessness. Meaning that you can start grouping the users based on their profile. And based on their profile, you can provide them with similar peers who are on the same activity level or fitness level. And then, if you create some leaderboards, it will become a fun challenge for every single person. So when I used that application, I sort of felt that, yeah, I'm getting somewhere. At some point, I realized that I didn't. But anyway, there was this feeling that I'm getting somewhere. And I got motivated. And one more very important thing. By creating these profiles and grouping users accordingly, these users won't get intimidated. So for example, me with my amazing legs and operated legs and my amazing level of fitnessness, I won't get intimidated if I get compared to any of my colleagues or any of my friends who are actually doing physical activities, and they are way better than myself. And it will also satisfy the brain's craving for dopamine, for validation, for a good tap on the shoulder. It's very important. Okay, status check. How are we doing? All good? Okay, just let us move ourselves a little bit, because, at some point, I was here in Oslo Spectrum in a concert, and those chairs are so freaking steep. I lost my balance almost, and so I won't say that you have to stand up and move yourself. Don't stand up. Just don't. But at least move a little, because we need energy. We are getting into this whole topic, and I would like you to stay with me. All right? Any moving? I'm checking. All right. So we are going to speak about emotions in UX. Feel good, click fast, yay! Regret later? There are some emotional triggers that we have to speak about. There is urgency. There are timers, low stock alerts, again, booking example. There is a fear of loss, expiring deals. You won't get that amazing, I don't know what, within 5 minutes if you don't do your whatever, and then you don't do the actual checkout, and you will get an email 2 weeks later that, hey, we decreased the price with 50%. So it's just, anyway, trust, clean design, simple content. It's an emotional trigger if you see a simple screen in your hand. You feel that you're in a safe place. You will get that in that application. You will have all the information that you need Not more, not less. Surprise, delightful Easter eggs. I really love it when an application just surprises me with fun facts. A few years back, I was working with a navigation software company when it was still a thing, and we just put their Easter eggs in the application. It was a data sheet here and there when the company was established, by whom and in what circumstances, and we put there some photos about our own very shitty hackathons in a garage. It was, it made the app closer to the users, but it was not intrusive because it was only an Easter egg, so very advanced users could get it out from the app. Joy, micro animations. I really love it when some applications have these toggle switch buttons, for example, day mode and night mode. And the day mode has this little sun, and the night has this little moon. And it's just so nice, and it pops when I click it to the other stage. It's just nice. Belonging. There is a need for belonging for every single human being. Like it or not, confirm it for yourself or not. Even the introverts have this instinctively. Satisfaction, progress bars. I really do love progress bars, except when they are frozen. But anyway, progress bars are nice. And curiosity for log content. For example, there are these news sites that make their content behind a paywall. And I'm so interested in those articles. I want to read them, so I would want to pay for them. This is how our brain works usually. But this can backfire. Urgency, with its pressure, it will turn into frustration in the users. Fear of loss, those messages are manipulative. So users will get angry, and there will be churn. They will leave your application and software piece. Trust, it might be over-promising. Our product is the best. It's not, in objective lens. So it will get to disappointment. If we are surprising our users too frequently, users will get bored. There is nothing new in it. The newness of this new thing has gone. If you're overusing animations and rewards and these kind of micro interactivities, then it will become a distraction. It will become something that will block the user from what they want to actually achieve. If this community feature is forced on our users, then it will become awkward. So again, getting back to introverts, I myself am one, believe it or not. But if I get too many of these triggers, I get so angry, I just cannot speak about it anymore. If there is too much satisfaction feature there, then it will cause guilt. It means that you will feel that you spent too much time in that application, and your brain starts to realize that I'm wasting time. And if the payoff, if the paywall doesn't serve as I expected, then I get annoyed. Hey, I paid a lot of money for that freaking article, and I got nothing. So when UX crosses a line, it is called dark patterns. But what is a dark pattern? Dark pattern is when we intentionally design the UI so that we can mislead the users or confuse them for our own business gain. For example, I use a certain tool for designing, and whenever I want to share a file, it will appear to the other person like automatically, it will appear with a button, and the button says request access. But for me, if I don't check it, I will automatically accept the other person as an editor on that file. Now, in that tool, you're paying for editor seats. That is a dark pattern. Also, if you're checking out a website that provides you with goods, and you're just looking around, but you found a few stuff that you want to buy, if you don't check your own basket carefully enough, you will end up buying something that you didn't want to, because there is some pre-selection made for you, although you haven't asked for it. Hidden opt-outs. Whenever I buy something from a new website, I carefully check for those checkboxes if I want to subscribe for the newsletters or not. Because in many cases, when I didn't check it, in many cases, I started to receive these newsletters, and this unsubscribe button or link is hidden. The better scenario when they are putting it below the whole newsletter, and then in the end I can just click it. But there are newsletters where I should actually reach out to support saying that, hey, I never really registered to your newsletter, so just unsubscribe me. Forced continuity, renewing your subscriptions. They are forcing you in it in any imaginable way. There are cheaper prices, or I don't know. It's just, again, messy rights. I told you about this tool. Now, about the rights level, if I weren't an admin in that tool, I just wouldn't be able to get through IT in time, because Element Logic is quite big, and I wouldn't be able to get through IT and asking, hey, just remove this person, and then the next month we will get the invoice about the new seat. Confirm shaming. When you confirm that, yes, you want to leave without buying anything, you will get those annoying messages that, oh, we are so sorry to see you go. Or when Duolingo, yeah, I wanted to return to that. I'm not a fan of Duolingo, by the way, just to be clear. And this is because Duolingo provides me with those illustrations where the all gets really ugly, and it just says to you that, it's a shame that you're going away. Come on, I'm here for learning a language, not for you to give me lessons. So, it's just freaking me out. Disguised advertisements. For example, if there is a button that you believe it's a button, and obviously you are waiting for some triggers or some actions to happen, and it turns out to be an advertisement in your face. And finally, roach motel. Easy to sign up, hard to delete. They are collecting roaches, meaning they are collecting your data. Very dark pattern. But why does it work? Why do companies still apply dark patterns? Because they exploit human psychology. Users don't read carefully. Remember I told you that I read through the newsletter, and on the very bottom of the newsletter I found an unsubscribe button. Now, majority of the users won't do it, so they will just receive it and put it automatically in the spam folder, and that's fine. But until they are subscribed, the company uses their data. Users go with the easiest option. Again, Hicks applied, fine, good. But if we are giving them something messy as the easiest option, we are creating intentionally a dark pattern. We are forcing the user to choose something instinctively, really, instinctively, I know, that's just too hard. Anyway, you understand me. That they wouldn't want to choose in the first place. Users stick with defaults. Whatever you set up as a default, they will just, yeah, finally, the 100th page of the wizard, I just want to get through with it and stuff. Usually Microsoft creates these kind of wizards that are never ending. And yeah, you just have to set up your this, you just have to give us access to that, and the 100th page, the users won't read it through. Anyway, I have a car, and this smart central management system or whatever there is, it just sent me a notification that, hey, we upgraded the privacy and this kind of agreements. Read it through. Now, it sends me that message when I already started the engine and I'm on my way. And there are available buttons. Agree, disagree. And there is a huge text. So first, I clicked agree because I was in a rush. Whatever I'm agreeing, I don't know, I don't care, I want to drive. The next time, because it popped up the next time as well, I already agreed, I actually used the turn indicator, found a parking place, just stand there to finally read it in peace. And I'm not joking, I was scrolling for 5 minutes, and I still couldn't get to the end. So again, I clicked agree. And it is popping up still then. So I have to go back to the car dealer and, just make it stop. I just want to use my car, come on. Anyway, defaults, yes. And users feel FOMO, fear of missing out. So that is why the dark pattern works. So what can we do then? Design with ethics in mind. See the pun there? I'm speaking about brain, and there is mine. Anyway, so some considerations, and here I'm being very, very serious. And I'm not just speaking to any designers, I'm speaking to all the developers, all the product managers, everybody who is involved in software and application development, because these will be very important. That is why I wanted you to, just move a little bit. I know those chairs, so just these, if nothing, you just take these away. Avoid dark patterns at any cost. You want to provide 100% pure design and pure software solution to your users. You want to be honest with them. Don't overwhelm the users with urgency, fear, or pressure. Building upon those negative feelings, those negative emotions, is just the darkest thing that you can do with your user. Respect your user, and don't overwhelm them. Present the options clearly and disclose the consequences. Whatever they are doing, they should be aware of what they are choosing. Give control back to the user. Don't provide them with defaults only if needed. And that need is very important to be defined. Prioritize well-being and engagement. Design for trust and transparency. And protect people who are easily influenced by design tricks. I mean children and elderly people who cannot think it through what they are choosing. So why do we care about this whole stuff? Because we are all human beings. And by all, I also mean the rest of the product team, not just the users. So here I'm going to speak about the psychology of design for the product team while we are working on the product. So how to do UX right? Define, ideate, validate, and repeat all the time. It's a circle. I would like to have a few words about the product trio, and you can read more about that from Teresa Torres. They are equal partners in crime, meaning design, tech, and product management are on the same level. Design is not belonging below. It's the same level. Again, it's planning, it's strategic thinking. Why should it be below product or engineering? From idea to impact, they are working together. They are continuously iterating all the time, so they need less rework. They provide you with products from the get-go, even with an MVP, but you can already try it out. They will have collective responsibility, and there will be no or few information loss. There is this user-first mindset, meaning that not just the designer is responsible for empathizing with the users, but also when they are having these discussions among each other, also the product manager and the engineer is involved in this whole empathizing. And even the engineers, the most cubed ones, start to feel that they are owning the product. So I would like to introduce the expression of test-driven design, not just development. Because from day one, design and tech works together, and they are testing whatever assumption they have. And for the collective responsibility, it's very important to say that it's not just fewer silos, it's less blaming. Let's be honest, if a designer provides you with a design and you just get it and start to work with it and you weren't involved at all in the design process, you will feel that, the designer tells me what to do. And if there is a mistake, it's so easy to blame them. So I would like to introduce the opportunity solution tree, which is again Teresa Torres's concept. It connects the outcomes to user problems and potential solutions. I wouldn't really go into detail at this point, just read it out. Better prioritization, faster learning, keep focus on delivering value. If you're interested in this concept, in this method, I strongly recommend to read the related materials. Now, assumption mapping. I somewhat mentioned that we are having assumptions when we are working in product trios, and that means that if you know that there is a feature request or a business request, then there are obviously some assumptions. Because yes, the business is coming with some requests, but we don't know what is really expected, what the users really want. So that is why we are creating these assumption mappings. We identify our assumptions, we prioritize them, and we validate. Again, test-driven design, we validate our assumptions. You will find there are some other tools like Crazy 8, create 8 ideas in 8 minutes, jobs to be done, where the focus is on the desired outcome, and user journey mapping, where we are strongly empathizing with the user through the end-to-end experience while we're drawing it up. Now, context is key. You should get everyone on the same page, because if we share the same mental model, then the whole ideation becomes more effective. Don't jump into solutions before you are defining what you are solving. And here is this, this story. 2 days ago, one of my colleagues asked me a question through chat. Okay, there are 2 very similar buttons that trigger very similar actions. How would you decide which button to choose? And obviously, as he is my colleague, I started to explain that, yeah, well, you will utilize the design system. These are the rules, how we are using the buttons, etc., etc. I sent my answer. Long story short, it turned out he was speaking about the toilet flushing buttons. Anyway, you want to reduce cognitive load and KISS. Keep it simple and stupid. You want to avoid overwhelming your users. You want to show only what is necessary at some point. Again, I'm returning to this all the time because the less you are showing, the less and more informative you are showing, the better. You want to keep the menus and navigation short, well labeled, group it together, and provide simple options. You would want to utilize visual hierarchy all the time, every time, use colors, fonts. This is also important for accessibility as well. Uh, give the users clear hierarchy so they will immediately understand how they are going through their processes. And now we can take a look into our magic ball and check out what is happening to neuro UX in the future. You will design with the brain in mind, again, that funny pun. Aligned with brain patterns and cognitive flow, you understood already how our brain is working, so you can actually utilize this knowledge. And you will combine neuroscience, data science, and psychology with design. There will be less friction and more instinctive interaction, hopefully. There will be adaptive interfaces. There are already some software solutions combined with hardware solutions that are recognizing your facial expressions, and based on that, they can provide you with options. And these will respond to your moods. You, or the future of neuro UX, will prioritize autonomy and give back control to the users, and they will respect these cognitive limits and mental well-being. So again, the future of UX is intuitive and emotional, the design that clicks with the brain. The best UX works with the brain, meaning that people will follow these mental shortcuts. If it's simple, it's better. Engagement boosters are the emotions, and you will want to build habits, but in a good way. And obviously, you will want to design ethically. So, all my kid life, I was sort of a loner. So, in case, after you downloaded the slides, in case you want to connect, just reach out to me in LinkedIn and just let's have a talk. And hopefully, we can learn from each other. So, thank you very much.